everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And we are here today to talk about Nick Cannon, trending topic, and his split from Viacom. And so I was going to do this video at the beach. I had gone out there, gotten ready to set up, but a storm is coming in. So the wind it was beautiful out there. The sun was beautiful, glistening off the cowater, but it was very, very windy, and so you guys couldn't hear me talking. So I'm back home, okay, and a little discombobulated, with all the shifting around. So please bear with me. So a few weeks ago, Nick Cannon, on his podcast and YouTube channel, Cannon's Class, I believe is the name of it, he had Professor Griff from Public Enemy was one of his guests, right? And so they had this deep conversation. I believe the video was like an hour and a half long, or that might have been another video I was watching, but I know the video was well over an hour long. And so it was no big deal. They were spitting some truth, telling it like it is. And I was thinking in the back of my mind, Nick, you need to be very careful. These people gonna come for you. And so then a couple of days ago, a clip of the interview started trending on social media, right? And so then, of course, the white people, they were upset, and they were saying that he was being anti-Semitic and Semitic, and am I pronouncing that right? Let me, anti-Semitic is the word that I'm going for. And so anyway, we knew it was coming. And so I guess Viacom, people started tagging Viacom and everything in their comments. So then Viacom, I guess, asked Nick to apologize. Nick said he wasn't doing no public apology because he meant what he said. He said what he said. Okay, he wasn't backing down. So then Viacom came out and said that they were parting ways from him, with him, from all of the projects that they have with him, namely Wildin' Out, you guys know. So then Nick released a statement, basically letting me know that this was very orchestrated, which I was thinking at the time, like, Nick got to be smarter than this, to be coming out as hard as he coming out and like not flinching, not, giving a care. And people were like in the comments, when he was, when the podcast was going on, and they were basically like, Nick, let Professor Griff talk, like you talking all over the man, like shut up, like why you doing all the talking? And so I was like, okay, well maybe he got some things he needs to get off his chest, and that's why he's over talking his guests. So anyway, child, Nick released a statement. I'm going to read this statement to y'all. This rather lengthy statement, but you guys know I read it so you guys don't have to, okay? And plus, I love reading. So let's go ahead. He called his statement Truth and Reconciliation. So he says, I am deeply saddened in a moment so close to reconciliation that the powers that be misused an important moment for us to all grow closer together and learn more about one another. Instead, the moment was stolen and hijacked to make an example of an outspoken Black man. I will not be bullied, silenced, or continuously oppressed by any organization, group, or corporation. I am disappointed that Viacom does not understand or respect the power of the Black community. I was a member of the Viacom, quote, family, end quote, for over 20 years, since I was a minor. We worked together to make great positive entertainment, and I was handed many opportunities that I am grateful for. At 17 years At 17 years old, I was deemed the youngest staff writer in TV history on their various Nickelodeon series. In 2009, the wonderful and amazing Seema Zagami blessed me with the opportunity to become the youngest television the youngest television chairman in history, placing the teen division of Viacom solely in my hands as an executive. She, along with the strong and brilliant Marva Smalls, guided me through the corporate infrastructure that at times felt overwhelming due to many doubting my abilities as a Black man. I am forever grateful to them for their love and kindness as leaders and their matriarch-like care of me over the years. With their support, I rose to the occasion at Viacom, creating philanthropic opportunities and award programming such as the Halo Awards, which awarded young grants for their, nonprofit organizations to change the world and end everything from bigotry, homophobia, racism, and even attempting to find a cure for AIDS and cancer. These young people had big ideas, big hearts, and more important, big optimism, just like myself. We successfully brought the world closer together for over 9 years with every big name celebrity and major corporation you could think of. Truly one of my proudest accomplishments in entertainment. Not because of ratings or numbers, but because I was able to empower the next generation. My time at Viacom also birthed one of my other greatest creative accomplishments, their longest running comedy series and the most successful hip-hop programming in television history, Wild 'N Out. An idea in which I self-financed out my own pocket and presented to MTV. I created a billion-dollar brand that expanded across a multi-tiered empire that is still Viacom's biggest digital brand, touring business, talent discovery and incubation system, and successful restaurant franchise. Based on trust and empty promises, my ownership was swindled away from me. For Viacom to be so deceptive is no surprise. They have been mistreating and robbing our community for years, underpaying talent on their biggest brands like Love and Hip Hop, all of BET programming, and of course, Wild 'N Out. Okay, well, we already knew that, Nick, but you made your millions, okay? So we're going to move on. So then he goes on to say, I don't have to defend myself here. The proof is in the history. I believe that the corporation was becoming more progressive and willing to create helpful spaces and dialogue in those difficult and uncertain times of 2020. Instead, they chose to recently ban all advertisement that supported George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, who we are all still seeking justice for. I also went as far as to reach out to Ms. Sherry Redstone, the owner of Viacom, to have a conversation of reconciliation and actually apologize if I said anything that pained or hurt her or her community. Dead silence. So that's when I realized they don't want a conversation or growth. They wanted to put the young Negro in his place. They wanted to show me who is boss, hang me out to dry, and make an example of anyone who says something they don't agree with. But like the great Shirley Chisholm, I am unbought and unbothered. I respectfully stepped away from oppressive corporations in the past. NBC threatened and mistreated me for years, but I was the bigger person and abandoned an 8-figure salary on their #1 hit show, America's Got Talent, and currently stand by my friend and queen, Gabrielle Union, in her fight against oppression. I took my talents and executive creativity to my open-minded and willing partners at the Fox Television Network to create the current #1 hit show on television, The Masked Singer, in which I host and executive produce. We are also gearing up to launch a daily talk show based on the historic community of Harlem, where the ultimate goal is to bring people closer together during these difficult times. Right now is the time for strong voices and compassionate thinkers to step up and create a dialogue of healing. Dr. King said, "We must learn to grow together as brothers, or we will perish together as fools." Ironically, at that time, our government called him, quote, "the most dangerous Negro in this country," end quote, and labeled him a terrorist. As we all know, Hollywood and the media is a dirty business. Still, I honestly can't believe that Viacom has such poor counsel that would allow them to make such a divisive decision in the midst of protests and civil uprising within our current pandemic. And y'all know I get to pressing this button too hard and lose my place. Let me get back up here. Truly an unwise decision for them to take it one step further and flat out lie in their official press release saying that I didn't attempt to reconcile the situation when on 2 separate occasions I specifically acknowledged and openly requested a forum to be corrected. Malcolm X said it best: "The media is the most powerful entity on earth. It will have you hating the people being oppressed and loving the people doing the oppressing, making the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent." My hope and original goal was to use this moment to show healing and acceptance and pray that Viacom would use their powers for good. Instead, I am now receiving death threats, hate messages calling me an ungrateful nigger, and beyond. Viacom's goal to keep me from providing for my family and lineage will be foiled. They can try to trick me while I'm down or force me to kiss the master's feet in public for shame and ridicule, but instead I stand firm on my square with my fist in the air, repeating my mantra, "You can't fire a boss." In a pleasant turn of events, and the best blessing in all of this hurtful attack is the outpouring of love and support from the Jewish community. It has been amazing. I have spoken with many rabbis, clergy, professors, and co-workers who offer their sincere help. I must apologize to my Jewish brothers and sisters for putting them in such a painful position, which was never my intention, but I know this whole situation has hurt many people, and together we will make it right. I have dedicated my daily efforts to continuing conversations to bring the Jewish community and the African American community closer together, embracing our differences and sharing our commonalities. Through the guidance of my multicultural team, which embodies several people from the Jewish community, specifically Michael Goldman, my business partner for 3 decades, who discovered me at the Hollywood Improv when I was doing stand-up as a kid. Through thick and thin, he has been by my side, yelling at me when I talk too much and laughing with me as we've always overcome adversity together. I love you, my brother. Thank you for helping me because the man that I am today, helping me become the man that I am today. And as we embark on this next incredible journey together, we will bring our 2 persecuted communities together like we always planned. He and so many gracious people from the Jewish community are showering me with love and helping to guide me to the promised land. Literally, I am excited to announce that I have been invited to Israel, which is a lifelong dream, where I will receive teachings, lessons, and truth about the Jewish history. As someone who is in pursuit for my PhD in theology and divinity, and just received a degree in criminal justice from the great Howard University, this will be an enriching, enlightening, and overall exciting trip. As for Viacom, who is now on the wrong side of history, I will continue to pray for you. I don't blame any individual. I blame the oppressive and racist infrastructure. Systemic racism is what this world was built on and was the subject in which I was attempting to highlight in the recent clips that have been circulating from my podcast, If I have furthered the hate speech, I wholeheartedly apologize. But now I am the one making demands. I demand full ownership of my billion-dollar wilding out brand that I created, and they will continue to misuse and destroy without my leadership. I demand that the hate and backdoor bullying cease, and while we are at it, now the truth is out. I demand an apology. All right, so what y'all think about his his letter that he has sent out, Truth and Reconciliation? Now, I know my posse out there. You know, they done read me. Y'all read me about my response to Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and that Red Table Talk. And y'all was like, why you didn't call that heifer out about, you know, the way she talked about R. Kelly, the way she treated R. Kelly. And to be honest with you guys, I was planning to do a follow-up video on that because I wanted to talk about all the people that Jada owed an apology to, like her children, August, you know, everybody, you know, that she has wronged. And then you guys reminded me. But the truth is, I never watched that Red Table Talk where she had Lisa Van Allen and was it Ashanti McGee was on there? Whoever she had on there talking about the R. Kelly situation. I never watched that podcast. So I am going to go back and try to find it and watch it. So if I do decide to do the second video, I can throw that in my comments on that. So I already know a lot of y'all are like, the hell with Will. I'm not with Will. The hell with Nick. You know, because of the way he talked about R. Kelly and put R. Kelly down. That R. Kelly was the one that gave him his only hit record. But I think at some point, you know, a lot of people, you know, have caught the R. Kelly voodoo. Okay, a lot of people. I mean, the music industry as a whole. I can't remember if I did a video or mentioned this in a previous video or on my community page, excuse me. But earlier this year, it was announced. Well, not earlier this year, but when did COVID really take hold? Was that like in March when everything started shutting down and getting canceled? So it must have been the end of April, beginning of May, where they came out and said that the music industry had lost $90 billion due to cancellations of concerts, music not being released, artists not being able to go out and promote. So the music industry as a whole already has caught the voodoo, okay? And then we have all these people who are just like going through stuff, having things happening to them. You know, you got Lizette, who always whining about being homeless. You got Kenyatta Barnes, who I think was in the hospital a few weeks ago, but she's suffering, you know, acting a fool in the Applebee's that we talked about a while ago. You know, Selena Johnson, who I don't think really came for him. I think that she was kind of like treading on thin ice. You know, the show she was on, Sister Circle, it's been canceled. You know, so everybody that's kind of like spoken out against him, came for him, you know, have caught some type of karma, you know, and it just goes to show that, you know, it's important to stick together. But I think in this instance, it's really important that we follow this whole Nick Cannon situation because, you know, people say that, you know, Bill Cosby's trouble started when he wanted to buy NBC or some other, you know, whatever that situation was about. And then all of a sudden you have all this stuff happening to him. And then, you know, people, even though I don't agree with the whole Sony scenario, that Sony is behind everything that's happening to R. Kelly, because I did a video, you know, you guys can go back and watch that video where I give my reasoning, and just based on how the whole music industry works, Sony really would not have any reason to have, you know, orchestrated all of this. I really believe that everything that's happening to him is just a bunch of bitter people who took advantage of a situation for whatever reason. Dream Hampton thought that, you know, doing this project was going to boost her career. Not sure if there's some history between the two, but I really think that that whole situation, they were going to expose him. I don't think anybody expected that we would be where we are today with him being arrested with these charges in all these different jurisdictions. So Nick Cannon needs to be careful because, next thing we know, there'll be a whole bunch of women because, that's game plan number 2. Number 1 is we're going to fire you. If you don't shut up, then we're going to, get these sexual assault charges against you. And if that don't work, then hell, you might end up, in a ditch somewhere. We don't know. Jumping out of a window in a lake drowning. That's how these people operate. Now, I have no doubt about that. So the things that Nick said in that video that deemed to be problematic was, one, he said that black people are the original Jewish people, okay? And when you think about it, how can you fight for Jesus was a black man and Jesus was the King of Jews, and then not say that black people weren't the, original Jewish people, okay? So it's one or the other. You got to make up your mind. And then the other thing that he said, he was sort of talking about, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this saying that we adapt to our surroundings. And so like if you take, and I'll use black people as an example. So if you take a black person who, say, was raised in middle class or upper middle class, and all of a sudden their family loses everything and they have to go and live in the ghetto or in the projects or whatever. So that child is out of place, okay? But they've got to learn to adapt to their surroundings. And so if, there are things going on in that community, like drug dealing or, gang banging or whatever the situation may be, then that child may adapt to that in order to survive and to live, okay? And not, have to worry about, being bullied in school or, being shot himself or whatever. Happens every day in America, right? And not necessarily black kids. It happens to Latino kids. I'm sure some white kids out here gang banging. They have Asian gangs because, child, one day, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bayway in where I live at. It's like a bridge that connects our city to the beach. And I was just really shocked to wake up one day and find out that the Asians was out there on the Bayway shooting up each other, stabbing and killing each other. So it happens in every community. I was just so like, whoa, okay. When they gang bang for real. So anyway, basically what Nick was saying was that the white people, and he was talking about the Bible, and I'm not going to get all into that, but he was basically saying that the people who didn't have melanin in their skin, when they went out, they couldn't deal with the sun, they couldn't, and that they became, I think he said they were impacted by the sun or something. I can't remember what it was now. But he basically was saying that they had to adapt to their surroundings. And then the way that they reacted towards the melanin people was that they were fearful. And then out of their fear, they created this antagonistic behavior. And like you can't, when you think about in the Bible, when the children of Israel were escaping Pharaoh, and they were out there in the wilderness and everything, and the people was coming from them and stuff. And then you have that same thing like with slavery, where they are just barbaric people, to maintain their power, to maintain their control. They have to be barbaric, they have to be savages to what they deem the lower class people. Like they made this catechism of upper class, middle class, and lower class. We are the higher echelon and you are the scum of the earth. Like that was that wasn't God's intention. That was a man-made creation between white people and then how they treated darker people. Okay, so that was not what he said, but in the gist of what he meant and what he was saying, because I don't feel like going back, pulling up the transcript. But that was basically the 2 points. The one point about black people being the first Jewish people, and then the second point about, white people just having this savage behavior within them where, you have to be a savage if you're out there enslaving a group of people, telling these people that they're nothing. You're out there whipping these people. When the enslaved people would run away, they would chop their foots off. Like, you got to be barbaric. You have to be a savage to treat another human being that way. So that was were the two topics, and I'm not quoting what he said in the podcast. I'm just basically letting you guys know what was said, the gist of what was said. So don't say he didn't say that, because no, he didn't say that verbatim. That's me explaining to you what took place. So I got to thinking about the whole thing and wondering, like, how many celebrities are going to come out in support of him, are going to be willing to, quote, lose it all in order to back him up. And so far, all I've seen is Diddy. Diddy came forward and told him, he was welcome on Revolt TV, and, whatever he needs, he's there for him. That's about the only person. I haven't been on social media a lot today because I had some errands to run. So some more people may have come forward, but it just goes back to a bigger conversation, because I was watching a video that Viola Davis did, an interview that Viola Davis did. And, when she was talking about how people call her the Black Meryl Streep, and she was like, okay, but why I can't get paid like Meryl Streep? Why can't I get the roles that she gets? And so it's obvious that, the current climate, where white people want to be so generous, they want to be tearing down statues, saying that Aunt Your Mama brand is going away and they're going to rebrand, they're washing people's feet. They out here, the senators and the Congress people out here wearing kente cloths and kneeling on the ground and all this other nonsense. So I think a lot of people were thinking, like, this is the current climate for us to get some things done. And so I'm just wondering, like, is there going to be a coming together, or are we still going to have that mentality where everybody's trying to protect their own stake in the game, or going to, like, step back and be like, man, I can't lose, what I've built, what I've created. I'm not ready to go up against the system. And then I think about Monique, and how everybody was hating on Monique, talking about Monique, when she was trying to get that Netflix, was talking about how Netflix treated her, only wanted to give her $500,000, but had offered other people, I think Amy Schumer, is that her name, had offered her, I think like $13 million, Chris Rock or somebody was getting $20 million, but they only wanted to give her $500,000. Was it 500 or was it? I'm sweating, guys. It's hot. My air condition cut off, and I don't feel like getting up, leaving the camera to go make it come back on. But it's like 100 degrees where I live at right now. So I apologize. But anyway, so everybody came for Monique, basically telling her she wasn't worth this money. She needs to be quiet. She needs to prove herself to the white people, prove herself to Netflix, and maybe the next special, if that special does good, then they'll offer her money for the next one. So I'm wondering if Nick is going to get that same kickback. Are there people in the industry that's going to be like, oh no, you were the golden child. They took you in when you were 17, bruh, and you built all this up and you gave them this control and you created that show, and now they done took it from you just like they do everybody else. They take the copyrights and the masters and all that. So no, bruh, you're in this on your own. Or do we come together and say, okay, we're going to support this brother because this may be our only opportunity, to get these people foot off our necks and, for us to have a serious equal share. And so another thing that they talked about in that podcast, there was like 6 families. I believe they say it's 6 families that control all of entertainment, that control the music industry, the movie industry, the television industry, Google, the way that they treat, with YouTube, the way they treat Black creators on YouTube. I don't talk about it that much, and I was going to do it because I know I keep promising you guys this YouTube series on, everything you want to know about YouTube. And this is part of it. I just haven't had the time because it's going to be about 26 parts to it. And I want to be able to do them every day, like over a month. And I just haven't had the time because my daughter is here from California for the summer and I'm helping her with my grandkids. And then I have some other things going on, like the work that I actually do to pay my bills, to like really get into it and be able to pump these videos out day after day after day after day. But one of the things, YouTube, like the R. Kelly whole situation, like we make pennies on those videos, you know, because they demonetize the videos, and not demonetize it to the point that you're not making any money, but they do what they're called limited ads. And so basically what the limited ads is that they're not going to run premium or high quality ads on your videos. So like if a movie is coming out and they want to promote that movie, a premium ad would be the trailer for a new hot movie that's coming out. They're not going to run those videos or those ads on our videos. And then, and I think I was telling somebody about Azriel Clary when she did that first video, and, you know, she had like 60,000 views or whatever. She made probably $1,000 or more off of that video because they were running like Disney ads and, you know, ads that pay a lot of money. And so if you're talking about, you know, stuff, I don't know how they determine how they're going to do it, because with the R. Kelly videos, I would say 60% of my videos where I'm talking about the court dates and stuff like that are considered not advertiser friendly, and they limit the ad content. And so every now and then I'll get because you can request a manual review where somebody manually looks at the video and says, oh no, this is cool, you can go ahead and, you know, get ads running on this. So the problem with that is it's manual, which means that a human is determining whether they are going to allow you to make money on that video or not make money on that video. And so the majority of the time, they probably have their own biased views, even though they're supposed to be going by this guideline. They're human, so they have their own biases. And so they go like, oh, I'm not going to approve this for quality ads to run on this video. And so they, you know, leave it demonetized. And then every now and then you're lucky and somebody else, you know, they'll go ahead and green light it and let you get paid for it. Well, the problem with that is by the time you, like the bulk of your views on the video happen within the first 24 to 48 hours. So by the time you request the review, they watch the video, you're on like day 2, 3, or 4. So you've already missed your opportunity to make revenue on that video. And so I'll get into that more and why you see YouTubers doing some of the things that they do to make money. And that is the reason why. And so as part of the whole Black Lives Matter, where all these corporations are coming out trying to appease us, YouTube had the unmitigated gall to put out a video saying that they get it, they understand, you know, that the black story is different from the white story, and that they've got to look at how they treat their black YouTubers and, you know, determine how to make us as successful as, you know, our counterparts are being successful, being multimillionaires and all of this stuff. And so it'll be interesting to see if they allow Nick's channel to stay up and what type he's getting off of that channel, or if they're going to try to silence him. Because actually during this pandemic, and as the Eastern District of New York was starting to interject YouTubers and YouTube videos into their motions, I noticed that, so when you look at your analytics, you have about 30 videos that'll show you like your top 30 videos that have been watched over a 28-day period. And I was telling somebody, I said, you know what, I noticed, and this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, I realized that of my 30 top videos, even though the majority of the videos that I have talked about in the past year have been on the R. Kelly case, 25 of my top 30 videos were videos from 2016, 2017, 2018, when I was recapping TV shows. Now, I'm not complaining because my revenue has gone up, but YouTube has started promoting those videos, pushing those videos out for people to look at those videos. But on the flip side of it, they are suppressing the videos that I do on the R. Kelly story. So whereas I was getting, like, I think my video with the most views was like 11,000, 14,000 views. Now I'm barely reaching 1,000 views on those videos because they're suppressing how many people can see them. And then in return, I guess to appease me, is that they're pushing up all these old videos for like TV shows that were canceled too, like Being Mary Jane. Like, why are people watching my recaps of Being Mary Jane right now? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, I'm not complaining, like I said, because my revenue is up from these old videos that are coming up. And I'll talk about that more when I eventually do that YouTube series. But these are just the kind of things that these corporations do to suppress the Black voice, because they control everything. And so I do support, despite what he has done to other people, I do support the effort, and I would like to see how far this whole thing goes, if it gets traction, if other celebrities are going to back him up, or is he going to be out here on this thing on his own? Will he be able to pull together the money to maybe start his own network? Will he be able to start his own streaming service where he can, green light programming, for African-American talent? It'll be interesting to see. So I am going to end this here. I believe I talked about Diddy saying, he was going to back him and he can come to Revolt TV. Monique probably sitting at the house laughing her ass off right now. But, and did y'all hear that Monique supposed to be coming to Real Housewives of Atlanta, her and her husband Sydney? I need to research that and do a little short video. But just very predictable. Like, if you had watched the podcast, you were probably sitting back, like, when is the ball going to drop? And so I guess behind the scenes, the ball was already dropping. And then in the last couple of days, it just, exploded. And of course, it's just one thing for white people to, the white racists to be out there, trying to drill it in. That was the other thing he said in the video, that Black people can't be anti-Semitic. That is not possible, because you can't oppress people, cannot be oppressors, or something like that, he said. But anyway, I think that was all I wanted to talk about. I read what do you guys think about his press release, what he says going on, and do you think that Viacom is going to turn over Wild 'N Out to him, or are they going to try to sell it to him for like $1 billion, like some astronomical figure that they know he's not going to be able to come up with? Or maybe he already has enough backing to come up with it, and he's just waiting to see what Viacom is going to do. So I'm going to end this here. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.